Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher, and man, I appreciate you guys checking out today's episode and spending some of your day with me. Today guys, I'm going to talk about the Chatterbait trailers, the bladed jig trailers that I like to use, and I'm going to talk about styles and colors a little bit, give you guys some good info on that. There's so much information out there about bladed jigs as far as the jig itself per se, but a lot of people don't really get into the trailers. And trailers can make a huge difference in generating strikes and catching a lot of fish or not getting many bites at all. So I'm sort of going to give you guys my personal experience, what I have found that works the best. So we'll get into that in today's episode. Also guys, before we get started, I will link all of my my favorite bladed jig trailers and my tackle warehouse link in the description of this video. If you guys would like to get you some of the trailers I talk about, using that link's a great way to support the channel. And also guys, anybody interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, just real quick, you can get it going by just going to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler, and just shoot me a private message. And finally guys, thank you everybody that's taken time to hit that subscribe button here to the Fishing Teacher. A big thank you to me and my family if you've done that. We really appreciate it. Okay, one of the things that I always talk about, I am a stickler for details in fishing. And one of the details that is important to me are trailers on any bait. It's like, I don't care if it's a jig trailer, spinnerbait trailer, chatterbait trailer, whatever. I think trailers make a big difference. The profile of the trailer, the size of the trailer, color of the trailer, in correlation with the skirt that you're using has a big deal. And I'm gonna go through, guys, I have 5 basic trailers that I use. And I'm going to go through each one of them and just explain a little bit the conditions and the situations I like to use them in. Okay, the first two I want to talk about, I use 2 different types. I use the Zoom trailer most of the time, but I do use this is a Lake Fork Magic Shad right here. I do use this one sometimes. Now there's 2 different colors. These are the 2 colors I use. I think they call this one Bait Fish here, and this is the Green Pumpkin. I like the Lake Fork trailer here in the pre-spawn time of the year, because in the pre-spawn time of the year, bass like a larger, bulkier bait. I don't care if it's a spinner bait or whatever, they like a bulkier bladed jig too. And this Lake Fork Magic Shad, it's a bulky big bait. And I catch a lot of good fish on it during the pre-spawn. So in the pre-spawn time of the year when the water temperature is in the 50s, this is the trailer that I use most of the time. And the rest of the year, after that water warms up, and even on into the fall time of the year, this time of year, I use this Zoom trailer right here. This Zoom trailer is quite a bit smaller in profile, as you can see from the Lake Fork Magic Shad. It's a lot thinner. It's more of a minnow. And I just get more bites on this little bit more finessey Zoom trailer than I do the Lake Fork Magic Shad after the pre-spawn. So really the only time I use the Lake Fork Magic Shad is March, sometimes early April. The rest of the time it's the Zoom trailer here. And like I said, we'll link both of these in the link of the description. Okay, now given that, let's talk a little bit about the color. The color has a big impact on catching fish, and color to me is dictated by 2 different things. Dictated by water clarity, sometimes light intensity along with water clarity, and it's just whatever the fish want. That's one of the sort of like the difficult variables to figure out in bass fishing, is sometimes the bass do something completely contrary to traditional ways of thinking. So one of the things about using trailers on a bladed jig, keep an open mind and experiment a little bit. The way you experiment is if you are getting some bites on a bladed jig, say you're using a white and chartreuse with some type of a pearl or shad pattern trailer on it. Once you know they're biting a bladed jig, then experiment with the trailer after that, because sometimes you can hit upon a trailer that works better than the one you're using. That's when I do my experimentation, is when I'm catching fish on a certain color. I know they're biting it. I know they're biting that lure category, so I start experimenting from that point. Okay, but moreover, the color that I choose is about the water clarity and sort of time of year a little bit. So we'll get into that. Now, one of the things that I do like to use in some type of a trailer is I've got 2 different types of ways of thinking here. The bass, to me, when they're biting a bladed jig, they're either feeding on perch or shad. So the colors that I'm using are indicative of sort of trying to match perch and shad a little bit. And one of the things about color, guys, is you don't have to match it perfectly. Say, for example, if if you see a bluegill, and the bluegill's got some yellow and some blue and some green and all this type of stuff, you don't have to match every single color and every single shade. Just get it close. I mean, that's all you have to do. So first one is some type of a white or pearl. Now, this to me, a white or pearl, is probably the one that I use least of all, but this is one of the favorite colors that people use in a bladed jig. To me, the white or the pearl, this is when I'm fishing a lot more off-colored water. So if I'm fishing water clarity on a bladed jig that I think is a little bit marginal, which is probably like less than 1.5 feet of visibility, I'll use a brighter pearl or white trailer in those type of situations with that because it stands out more. Or if the water's a little bit cleaner, I may use, something, same type of deal. If the light intensity is low, say for example, the water visibility is 3 feet, but it's raining, then I'll use a white and pearl with that. Usually mix or setup, on the bladed jig is going to be a white and chartreuse or some type of a pearl. And I do use the white or the pearl quite a bit in the post-spawn time of the year, because a lot of times during the post-spawn time of the year, the shad are spawning and the bass are really keyed on shad, and that's when they'll bite that. Now, another color similar to this, I can't remember the colors. You'll just have to look through that Tackle Warehouse link, guys, to get the name of these. But this color right here that I use, this is another type of a shad pattern, but it's more subtle. It's not near as bright. And this is one that I'm also going to use on some type of a shad pattern bladed jig if the water's clear. So let's say, for example, I'm using this one if the water visibility is 1.5 feet deep. If the water clarity is clean, like when I consider clean water to be anything like over 3 foot, then I'll use this one right here. Just still a shad pattern, but it's just a little bit more subdued. Doesn't quite stand out as much. But this matched with some type of a lighter translucent colored skirt, like maybe some type, that you can get skirt colors that are sort of that translucent shad looking. That's matched with that. It's going to be a good color for that. Now, green pumpkin, guys, this is my perch pattern here. When I use a green pumpkin trailer, I'm fishing that bladed jig thinking the bass are feeding on perch. And every time that I use a green pumpkin trailer, I'm usually using it with some type of orange or chartreuse dye. And I've got it matched up with a skirt color on the bladed jig that's similar. Green pumpkin skirt with maybe some orange in it. That's one of my favorite setups, is a green pumpkin and orange bladed jig skirt with a green pumpkin and chartreuse tail on the trailer there. That's a real good perch pattern, but I don't ever fish a green pumpkin trailer on a bladed jig unless I've got the tail dyed chartreuse, sometimes orange. That works really good with it. Another thing with green pumpkin, it works better a little bit if the water's on the clean side. So the water visibility, I like it to be at least 2.5 feet or so before I use a green pumpkin. And another thing you'll find out about green pumpkin is it's the best color if you're fishing it over grass. So if you're fishing submergent hydrilla or milfoil, I have found personally that they bite some type of a green pumpkin trailer better than a shad pattern for the most part. And then finally, guys, I don't have one laid out here, but a black, I got one more to talk about, but another one is a black trailer, a solid black trailer. Just you can dye it chartreuse with dye or just get one, but a solid black trailer is really good on obviously a black and blue chatterbait. And then finally, guys, another one I like to use is sort of this orangish looking color. This is like a really good off-colored water. It's a little bit better in cold water. So this is going to be one again that I use like when the water temperature is in the 50s, like the fall time of the year. But this, I can't remember the name they call it, but it's sort of orangish looking, I guess, like that. I'm colorblind, so I can't tell exactly. But that's just sort of an overview, guys, of the colors that I use. Most thing you want to remember more than anything else is just keep an open mind. Experiment with it, just figure out what the fish want to bite. And it changes from day to day. That's the one of the things about lure colors and bass fishing is that you can't ever get locked into one color because every single day has a different type of light intensity on it, unless you got just a bluebird sky day after day. But the amount and the type of clouds that you have in correlation with the wind and the water clarity are constantly changing. And anytime you have a change in the wind speed, wind direction, water temperature, water clarity, light conditions, all that type of stuff, it can change the color that the bass prefer on the trailer. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, hope it helps out, guys, and we'll check in later.